My grandmother died a horrible death to Alzheimer's. Later on in the latent stages of the disease, I would go to the nursing home. I would sit there many nights and we would just talk and I would brush her hair and we would sing some songs. And a few weeks before she got really bad, she would talk to me about me, not realizing that it was me that she was speaking to. She would tell me how my songs that I would sing, how they would bless her and how I would make her laugh and how she was proud of me, not knowing it was me she was talking to. And then a few weeks later, her health took a turn for the worst. And the last week of her life, it was just horrible. Her feet started turning black, her hands started turning black. She couldn't close her mouth anymore. It was horrible. And I would sit there and I would watch her suffer. And I would think to myself, God, what kind of quality of life is this? Because here's a woman who has served you and she's suffering miserably and you need to take her home now. And one night, tears are just streaming out of her eyes and she's just laying there curled up and we're waiting for her to die. And I remember having my hand on her cheek. I thought, all I need to do is to just slide my hand over her mouth and gently pinch her nostrils shut. And there'll be no struggle. There'll be no fighting. And she could pass and be in heaven. And then the other part of me thinks, what are you thinking? Obviously, I didn't do that. I couldn't do that. I remember walking out of the nursing home and I was angry at God because this just didn't make sense to me. My grandmother died a couple of days later, and it was about 3 to 4 months after the funeral that I was talking to my mother, and she just happened to tell me that the night before my grandmother died, that my aunt, my grandmother's youngest daughter, who gave her the most challenges throughout their life, had gone in there the night after I was there. And she spent the night sitting next to her mother and holding her hand and stroking her hand and just talking to her mom. And it was a healing moment for my aunt to be able to have that time with her mother and to have those conversations and to get all of the stuff out and off her chest and to tell her how she felt about her. And when I heard that story, I thought, oh my gosh, here I thought I was wiser and that God must be making a mistake. And I had no idea that just 24 hours later, somebody else would be there. And I would have taken that away from her had I acted upon what I thought I knew better.